as we give everybody else. So we give ourselves a reason to not be successful because we think everybody else has a reason to be more successful than us. And I wrote a new book. It actually releases on the 1st of June, and it's called I Will Thrive, but the word survive is ripped off the page. And it used to be I will survive, but no, I will thrive. And here's where some of you might be in your life, in your career, in your relationships. You might be thinking, I can survive this. Like I think I can survive in this industry. I think I can survive in sales. I think I can survive in a relationship. I think I can survive in this marriage. And I just want to let you know, the preacher part of me is going to come out for a second. You were not created to survive. You were created to thrive. And you are in a thriving organization surrounded by thriving people underneath a thriving leader. And so you are not going to survive here. You are going to thrive here. And the very first thing I have to do is to compel you to raise your expectation, to believe that. So if you believe it, I want you to put the word believe in comments right now. If you haven't texted somebody to jump on the Zoom, make sure you text somebody. So type believe. If you don't believe it, type the word no. Like, tell me where you're at. It's like, I can't. I want to, but I can't. And that lets me know where you are. So I'm seeing believe, 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 believe. I don't have anybody who's not willing to believe just yet or stuck where they can't, which is great. This is good news. And believe, but I don't believe it all at once. I thank you for your honesty. I believe I'm a daughter of the King. Come on, honesty is the best policy. Honesty is where we start. And that's where once we know where we start, we can get anywhere from here, right? So honesty, believe, but still hesitant. Want to believe, but it's really hard. I love that you guys are sharing this with me. Thanks for being honest, because I'm going to be super honest with you. This book is honest, and it is going to make you cry. And I will tell you a little bit about it. But first, I want to start with why. Why did I want to share with you guys? One, because I believe in Cheyenne like crazy. You guys are underneath an unbelievable leader. And then let's go up another notch. I'm hanging out with Cammie Pentecost all day on Thursday. She's flying in. I'm actually shooting a TV show with her. It's going to be on Impact TV here in a couple of months, talking about being a single mom and yet being a boss babe, right? Because I was a single mom, and you can be a single mom and a boss babe. And the time period I'm getting ready to tell you about in my life, I was a single mom in the corporate world. And yet, let me ask you a question. Do you want me to be honest with you about the salary I made on some of my best months in sales? Yes or no? Because you might get jealous, and I need to know if you're going to still like me if I tell you the truth. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So I will be honest. So this was back in the 90s, y'all. So you have to do the inflation and the math and everything else. But back in the 90s, because I quit my job at the end of 1999, the beginning of 2000, I made as much as $100,000 a month. How many of you would be okay? You could like figure out how to live on that salary. If you could figure out how to live on that salary, say yes or amazing or holy moly, me, yes, I'm getting it, right? Let me tell you how I did that good in sales. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Because I'm going to give you my secret. And my secret is not that I can sell ice to Eskimos. My secret is not that I have great style. My daughter dresses me. She's 17 years old. And when she doesn't dress me, you know it. My secret is not that I can talk people into things. My secret is not that I have the cutest Instagram feed. Instagram feed didn't even exist back then. My feed is not coordinated. My feed is super random because I am super random. There are two things that you can do that will make you successful. Number one, do the work. What is the work? So back in the day, they did the math on my job. And in my job, they said, you have to make 20 cold calls every day to people you don't know. And you have to talk to these people and you have to tell them about what you have to offer, your product, every day. Well, I worked in a room full of people selling the exact same product. And I can tell you 99% of the days, nobody made 20 phone calls to people they did not know to try to get business with new people. So what I decided to do was, how can I be different from these people? I decided to make 20 phone calls every day. Every day when I felt like it, every day when I didn't feel like it, every day when I was sick, every day when I was busy with other stuff, every day when, if I had to do it from my car, every day if I had to do it from my house. I did it every day, because when you keep your funnel full, when you keep reaching out, the statistics, the probability and statistics, the math will eventually shake out, and you might get a heck of a lot of no's, but you can't. That's it. Resilient, said future double diamond leader Emily Bassett to everyone. You can't let rejection stop you, because everybody gets no's in life. So one of the chapters in my book, so I wanted to tell you about some of my success for a minute. Well, I told you I would give you two things. Should I give you the second thing now? Yes or no? I don't know if I should give you the second thing now. Okay, second thing now. Okay, so number one, you have to do the work. So I don't know what the parameters are that It Works has figured out that you have to do, but let me give you this. If you don't do the parameters, you're not going to be successful. That is not, it's like the speed limit on the highway, y'all. 55 ain't your maximum. I'm just saying, it's your minimum. You know what I mean? So if you want to be successful, you don't get to be successful. You don't get to be 110 pounds, which I have not been since first grade. You don't get to be 110 pounds if you don't like exercise and eat all the right things. And last night I had a scoop of Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Just saying, enjoyed it, loved it. It was amazing, and gonna do it again. So I'm not going to ever be 110 pounds again, ever. And right now you're like, you look skinny. Yeah, because I know which body parts to show you, y'all. I got Kardashian booty for days. Just saying, the hips, I could live off these hips for 6 months. I drink the skinny coffee because I need the skinny, to counteract the vanilla ice cream I had last night. So you have to do the work. That was the beginning. Number two, you have to do the work. You can't, of course, you can't give up. But number two, you have to believe in you. You have to believe in you, and you have every reason to not believe in you. And if you do the work and you believe in you, doing the work will work it all out, because honestly, sales is math, y'all. You can be awful, but if you make 100 sales calls a day, you're going to get one, right? Because the math works out. So you have to believe in you, because if you walk into any meeting, if I walked into this meeting today and said, I don't know why anybody would listen to me. My life is terrible. I can't sell nothing. I'm just a big failure, miserable. It's awful. Y'all tune out. For real though. So you have to believe in you. You have to believe in your product. I believe in your product. I use your product. I don't want to say every day, but almost every day. I don't use the same product because I take super reds, I take super greens, I take collagen, I take hydrate. I do some of the coffees because I'm more of a tea girl, but what I figured out is I put the skinny coffee in my tea when I need a little extra caffeine, a little cheat, right? So I believe in your products. I believe in you. I believe in your leaders. And the only way to get there is to face your, I don't want to say the word demons because I don't mean literal demons, but I mean those things that are stalking you, those insecurities, your past failures, rejection, the fact that somebody else is doing better than you, the fact that you try and try and try, but my future double diamond girl, what I know about her is she said future double diamond, which means she's probably not double diamond right now, or girl would change her name. What I like is that she's speaking to her future, and she's not afraid to speak to it, and she's not afraid to say what she's not yet, right? Yet. So I'm not successful yet. I'm not double diamond yet. I'm not paying my bills yet. I want you to write this down. I want you to look at the things that escape your mouth, and I want you to put this phrase after the end of them. Put this phrase, and that's the way I want it. So I'm not successful, and that's the way I want it. I'll never reach double diamond, and that's the way I want it. I can never have a feed like that, and that's the way I want it. You see, if we put, and that's the way I want it, after what we're saying, we're honestly listening to what we're saying, because when we say it, there's science for it, and then there's Bible for it. the Bible says that we eat good by the fruit of our lips. So that means what you say, that's going to be how you eat. So if you're saying good things about your life, good things are going to happen to your life. That's biblical. It says that, say unto the mountain, be thou removed, be thou cast in the sea, and shall not doubt in your heart. You have to believe in yourself that these things will come to pass. So say it, believe it, and it shall come to pass. It's biblical. What's the science for that? Because, well, I might not believe the Bible. Well, I wish you would. And I want to let you know I have like 28 people living in my head, so their voices come out occasionally, and that was one of them. So, but I don't believe the Bible. I wish you would, because the Bible is true. But beyond that, let me give you the science for it. The science for it is in your brainstem. There's a piece of your brain called the reticular activating system. And that's the part of your brain that runs your breathing. Everybody breathe in. Everybody breathe out. Right? Now you're thinking about it, but you weren't thinking about breathing or blinking or your heart beating or the saliva in your mouth until I just said that. That's the part of your brain that controls that. That is the part of your brain that hears what your mouth says and goes to work making it come to pass. So have you ever woke up one day and you were tired and you kept saying all day long, I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired? Has that ever happened to you? Yes or no? Let me see you in the chat. What happens is when we wake up and we're tired and then we keep saying, I'm so tired, what the brain does is it hears and says, oh my gosh, we're tired. It starts releasing the serotonin and the melatonin and the other chemicals in your factory to make sure you're tired, because you have told your brain, this is what we're doing. So if you tell your brain, I can't be successful, you're going to self-sabotage. You're going to get sluggish. You're not going to be able to make the calls. You're not going to be able to figure who to reach out to. You're not going to figure out how to close the sale. You're not going to figure out how to have the conversation to sign somebody up, and so that they can have a lifestyle like you guys are having, like Cheyenne is having, like Cammie is having. You're going to come up with every reason why you're going to struggle to survive. And it is not Bible for you to survive. Well, prove that to me. Well, God said in Genesis, he said, I make you in my image and in my likeness. Here's some things I know about God. God is not depressed. God is not stressed out. God is not anxious. God is not broke. God is not ugly. God is not upset. God is happy. He is joyful. He is peaceful. He is beautiful. He is glorious. He is amazing. He is abundant. He's healthy. He has provision. So he didn't create you as his lookalike child to survive, because he's not a survival God. He is a thriving God. Therefore, you are created to thrive. And we don't thrive because of our past or because of what has happened to us or what has happened because of us. I want you to write that down. It doesn't matter what happened to me, and it doesn't matter what happened because of me. So I want to tell you about a little bit of what I wrote about in the book. The book is an introduction in 15 chapters. The book is conversational like I am, because I am. And some of my voices come out. The very first chapter of the book is called You Say It's Your Birthday. What happens when the candles get blown out? And I introduce you to my life through my very first married birthday. It was April 19th, 1995. Now, I want people to tell me who was alive in 1995. So while I'm telling you this story, put your birth year in the chat, because yeah, I was one. Yes, I see you, Emily Bassett. You were one. So I'm a little older than y'all, okay? Got a little life experience going on here. I was 5, 1983. Come on, somebody. Anyway, I was somebody born in 1980. We're getting closer to me. Come on, somebody. Oh, 1972, I see you in there. I was born in 1972. So April 19th, 1995 was my first married birthday. It was 3 weeks after I got married. My brand new husband, who was a bodybuilder with high cheekbones, he had medical initials after his last name. Girls, I'm telling you, life was about to be good, except for he didn't come home that day, or the next day, or the next day, or the next day. April 19th, 1995 was the day of the Oklahoma City bombing. And I say it was a picture on the outside, a prophetic picture of what was happening in my life, because this was the day that he decided to use crack cocaine for the first time. And he finally came home several days later, after I'd called the cops, after I finally filed a missing persons report, after I called his parents, called the hospitals, drove the roads looking for his car in a ditch. He came home, and when he came home, he didn't walk in the front door. He threw the front door open so hard that the door handle went into the drywall behind the door. The door was behind me. He flies around. I'm sitting on the couch to the front of the couch. I get up and I go, "Where were you?" Because I thought he was dead. I said, "Where were you?" Which was the wrong thing to say to him because it made him violent. My daughter's father did the same to me my whole pregnancy when I was 17. I had my son when I was 17, Cindy Lou, part of my story. So that was the first time he was violent. Over the following months, he herniated my C7. He broke my rib. He ripped a moving ceiling fan out of the ceiling while it was moving and threw it at me. He put a gun in my mouth, and y'all, he pulled the trigger. It wasn't like a Glock. I don't know if you know anything about a gun, but those guns you see on TV and they pull them back, and that's what you need to see a bullet, but you can't see if the bullet's there or not. Now, this was like a John Wayne cowboy gun. It was a revolver. It was about this long, had a handle. It had this little circle thing, and you could see the bullets and all of the pieces. And when he put it up to my mouth, I couldn't breathe. I was afraid that breathing any word, any sound would anger him and make him pull the trigger, which he did anyway. But he put the gun in my mouth, and I was sobbing, but not moving. Like I couldn't make my eyes stop crying, but I wasn't moving in any other way. And he pulled the trigger, and y'all, a bullet did not come out. I want to be honest with you. Before that minute, if he came home again or not, because he'd left, it destroyed us. We ended up getting foreclosed on. He sold all the furniture out of our house, maxed out all the credit cards. I didn't have his income to pay the bills anymore. I went to work one day. I came home that night. I didn't have dining room furniture. I didn't have bedroom furniture. He had sold it all to a guy, a friend of ours named Doug, who left a note on the counter. So I called him. I'm like, "Why did you buy my furniture? I need that." And he said, "I bought it because, Nicole, he was going to sell it to somebody. It might as well have been me. If I didn't buy it, somebody else was going to." I'm like, "Still not okay." I'm like, "Sell it back to me." And he's like, "No, he'll just sell it again." I still owed money on the furniture, y'all. I ended up homeless. They foreclosed on my home. He was stalking me. I ended up giving my son, who I had when I was 17 with my high school sweetheart, because I'll tell you, my life before this wasn't much better than this, actually. I ended up shipping him off, my son, not shipping him off, giving him back to his dad and saying, "I have to run. He has to be safe." I told everybody I was going to Mexico. I went to Florida. I quit my Fortune 500 marketing director job, worked in a diner for cash, lived in a hotel for cash, not a 5-star hotel, a 0.5-star hotel, y'all. And the point is there by a roach. The roach is the point. And I'm telling you what, he moves and he is your roommate and it is nasty. And I was alone. I wrote a chapter in the book called "Looking Your Giant in the Eye, Developing 20 Seconds of Insane Courage." I'm going to come back to that in a minute because I want to tell you about some of the other chapters that I didn't tell you about so far. What am I telling you right now? I'm telling you every reason why a girl like me shouldn't live a life like this or had a career like that. You see, the career sales job that I got where I was making that kind of money started in 1996. I got married in 1995. I got divorced in 1996. I started that sales job in 1996, and I made that kind of money in 97, 98, 99. I retired in January of 2000. And when I say retired, I'd made enough money, and I started volunteering full-time in ministry. For 4 years, I'd got no paycheck whatsoever, worked my tail off, but I wasn't expecting money. That was my life right then. But before that, chapter 2 is called "Things I Can't Change." What am I doing? I want to address the hurdles that are in your life so that we can tear each one of them down. And things I can't change is, y'all, I got a Kardashian booty. Y'all, your girl's got hips for days, right? I am 6 foot tall. These arms don't just look long, they are really long. Why do I have no sleeves on? I have no sleeves on because they don't make sleeves this long. You know what I'm talking about? I can't change the fact that my dad gave me up before I was born in Canada. Never even saw me. and that I was adopted in the US when I was 3 by my stepdad, which freaked out Homeland Security. I talk about this in the book. After 9/11, Homeland Security freaked out because I was foreign born but had a US birth certificate. My US birth certificate was stamped 1975, but I was born in 1972. And they did not want to give me a passport after 9/11 so that my family could go on vacation. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I felt so lost. I was like, I've been paying taxes at this point for 27 years, and they can't seem to verify that I'm a real human. And I really started doubting who I was because my dad already gave me up. I was in my parents' wedding. I talk about this in the book when I was 3 years old. And I didn't even realize, because aren't all kids in their parents' wedding? I mean, when you're a kid, you just think that your experience is everybody else's experience, and you don't know how all the things work. So I just thought everybody was in their parents' wedding until I was 10 years old. And in 4th grade, it was the year that I found out I was adopted. It's the year that I got introduced to Jesus. And it's the year that I was molested by somebody in my neighborhood. I know I can say that with a smile. Same, adopted. I didn't know until I was 17. This is really hitting home. Sobbing. Oh, you think you're sobbing now? Wait till you read this, girl. But that first chapter where I talk about the gun in my mouth, I also talk about hope, expectation, and faith, and changing your expectation. I started out with my sales career. I told you where it fit in the puzzle. And I've only told you about 80% of the junk that I have been through. So when I was molested, I did something, and that was wait a whole year to tell anybody because I didn't know what to do with what had happened to me. But guess who I picked to tell? Can you guess in comments who I picked to tell? Who do you think I told? Who would you have told if you were a 4th grade little girl? God, okay, outside a human. Which human did you tell? Who do you think? Your mom, stepdad, teacher, mama, friend, BFF? I went with the friend card. Not a great choice when you are 10. Because what does that 10-year-old little girl know to do with a secret? Because what does a 10-year-old girl do with a secret? Tell me what she does with a secret. Tell. And she did. So chapter 4 I wrote, it was called The Bully Bus. It's about being labeled. It's about being shamed. It's about either living up to the labels that other people have put on your life or living in spite of the labels that other people have tried to put on your life, because somebody has labeled your life, and it is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ has labeled your life. He says who you are in Ephesians 2:10. He says you are a masterpiece. Beautiful. Yeah, but I got this lump on the side of my face and I got this thing on my nose. No, he says you are beautiful. No, but my nose is too long and my ears are too. No, he said you are beautiful. You are a masterpiece created in Christ Jesus. And he tells you why. If you were wondering why you were born, Ephesians 2 tells you you were created in Christ Jesus to do good works. And I see people talking about how they were molested and how they were hurt. And I see other people saying, I'm sorry. And I love the empathy and compassion. And I want to let you know you're not alone. That's why I'm so glad that you guys are such a sharing and caring group, because 1 out of 3 girls, these are very recent statistics, double checked them 2 weeks ago. 1 out of 3 girls are molested before the age of 18. And get this one, this is the one that freaks people out, 1 out of 5 boys. And they estimate that 30% of molestations and rapes are not reported. Mine were not. And did you hear say mine were? That's plural. Where is the plural? Well, let me get to that in a minute. So mine were not. And you wouldn't believe the guys that I get coming up to me crying when I talk about this, because you are not what was done to you, and you are not what was done because of you. So these are things that my father gave me up. That was done to me. I was molested. That was done to me. You know, it's funny how the enemy will make you think about the dad you didn't have instead of the dad you did get. Right? There was a man who stepped in my life. He was my stepdad, but you know, he adopted me. So it's a matter of focus. Everybody say focus. It's focus and perspective, looking at the things that are good. So you'll have a tendency in your job, what you're doing right now, and you will say, I'm not making it. I'm not hitting my numbers. I don't know what to do. What are you focusing on? Where is your focus? If your focus is on what you're not doing, we need to take your focus and move it to what you can do. What can I do to? How do I put a yet instead of a that's the way I want it? We got to change that, right? We got to get that yet on there. I'm not successful yet. Get in, that's the way I want it out of there yet, because here's what I'm going to do. So she told everybody, and I wrote the bully bus because when the bus would come down the street, I'd get like major anxiety because the bus driver would yell at me to sit down, and all the kids would tell me I couldn't sit with them. So I lived super lonely in junior high. And when I was 13 years old, I'm going to wrap this up in the next like 3 minutes, I was raped by somebody doing community service in our junior high. Wow, what a session. Yeah, you're going to have a lot to journal after this, right? So I understand that. And I understand I didn't tell anybody about that until I got married. And I wrote about it in the book. And I wrote about trying to bury those feelings. And I wrote about in the book coping mechanisms. And I'm going to rattle off a few. And since you guys are an open group, I want you to tell me which one is yours. And there's the coping mechanism of fear and insecurity, not stepping into the God opportunities for your life. Like, I can't. I said no. My husband, who I've been married now for over 23 years, we're having our 24th wedding anniversary in October. So I know what it's like to be in a long and good marriage. That is still a lot of work, y'all, just gonna tell you. But how it is to be in a long and good marriage. But it took me 5 months. He asked me out for 5 months, y'all. I kept saying no, and I wrote about it in here. What did I call that chapter? I forget. Meeting Mr. Right. I talk about meeting Mr. Right because I wouldn't step into that God opportunity. And then I wrote a chapter called When Your Wedding Goes Whack. And I talked about the coping mechanism of anger. And God told me, when you see the word anger, put a D on the front of it because that's the word danger. And that's what anger brings. If anger is somebody pushes your buttons and you lash out, or you say, I'm just a strong woman. No, you just have an anger problem. So is it fear? Is it anger? Or get this one. This is my super flavor of coping mechanisms. Overachievement. Right? Overachievement is proving our worth to people who aren't looking. The ghosts of parents and opportunities past is the way I say it in the book. Another one, I did a whole chapter called Building the Wall. Because what we do is we build up these walls because there's pain in our life. So we distance, we get offended, we get away from people. And the problem is with building the wall is the same wall that holds out the pain. And the enemy teaches us to build it ourselves very quickly, and then we do. But it also holds out the happiness and the joy. And so what happens is you don't even know that this is your coping mechanism until you're standing in a room of happy people and you're like, why are all these stinking people so happy? Right? Well, you should be happy too. You're in the same room. But there's that wall. So there's fear, there's anger, there's overachievement, there's walls, there's food addiction, there's drug addiction. You might not want to put those on. There's alcohol addiction. So there's a holum or isms. So I talk in the book about rageaholism, alcoholism. I talk about overachievement-aholism. I talk about momaholism because some of y'all super momming it out there, trying to cover up what has happened in your life. And somebody put this in comments, but God cannot heal a pain that you will not look at. And if you look at that pain and give it to him, honestly, open it up. Don't just shove it down, stuff it down in your heart because it grows bitterness, anger, resentment, regret. But if you'll give it to him. So the last part of my story, because I went the last 3 minutes that I said I was going to, I'm going to wrap up in 2 minutes here, is I moved after I was 13 years old. Junior high was done. We moved to a new city, a new town, a new school district, and I got to meet all new people. And I didn't realize until 20 years later that my no had been taken away from me in the molestation and the rape. So what I had was left. What I had left was yes. I'll tell y'all how to get the book in a minute. So I used yes. People pleasing became my coping mechanism. You want to go to a party? Yes. You want to drink? Yes. You want to smoke? Yes. Can I kiss you? Yes. Yes. Yes, because yes made you popular. Yes made you invited. Yes made you fun. And so I said yes, and I ended up a pregnant, unwed mother when I was 17 years old. And that's when I failed me. Life had failed me to that point, but that's when I failed me. Then I met that guy. Then I got married. Then he got addicted to crack. Then I ended up alone in Florida. And then God, I cried out to God. And I'll tell you, when I told you earlier about the 20 seconds of insane courage, looking your giant in the eye, you don't have to have 20 seconds of insane courage once. You have to have it over and over again. And for me, I had to have it every exit on the highway between Florida and Missouri going home, because I wanted to turn around every time, because I knew if he couldn't find me, I was safe. But I knew I couldn't thrive in life. I would be surviving working in that diner. I would be surviving working for cash. I would be surviving hiding from him. I would be surviving not with my son. I want to tell you, I am in a beautiful home in Florida today, y'all. And my 31-year-old son that was born to me when I was 17, and don't you do the math on my age. He is in this house. He lives with us, not because he can't afford a home, because they love us that much. We asked them to come live with us, and they did. So my 6-month-old grandson, hold on. I know I look too young to be a grandma, right? Just say yes, just say yes, just say yes. Look, y'all, look what I got to suck on today, right? God can fulfill every part of your life, the parts that money can buy and the parts that money can't buy. I want you to be successful and it works. I want you to make $100,000 a month. I want you to have the good things in life. God wants you. God doesn't want to hold anything back from you. No, he wants you to do the right things with it, right? Can't all be about you. But you know what? Money can't buy you happiness. Money can't buy you family. Money can't buy you joy. Money can't buy you peace. Money only amplifies who you are. So I pray for you a whole life provision in every area. And I pray that those insecurities that you have, and I want to walk you through them. So I'll tell you, Cheyenne, is it okay if I tell them how to get the book? They asked a couple times. The book is on Amazon. You can get the book on Amazon. I think it's $22.99 on Amazon, and it ships June 1st. So you should get it next week. It's finally coming out. And if you buy it on Amazon, I would be very grateful, because it'll help us reach our goals. But there's another place you can get it. If you go to a website, it's called freethrivebook.com. You can get the book for free. You have to pay shipping and handling. The reason I recommend that one, it gives you access to my circle of friends for 30 days. After that, opt out if you don't want to be in it. I do stuff like this in my circle of friends once or twice a month. Opt out, don't get in it. But there's something, the publisher would not allow me to write a workbook and a study guide for this. And I got them to allow me to do bonus material. That just happens to be like a 60 some odd page book that you could use as a study guide and a workbook. And that is what I really like. And you can get that if you go, my agreement with the publisher is, because they want me to develop in the fall, but I'm going to do a study on this for 4 weeks in a row. We have a women's conference June 11th and 12th. So the Wednesday after that, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, June 16th, every Wednesday morning for 4 weeks, I'm going to do a study on Facebook with you on this. I'm going to use the information from that bonus material. The only place you can get the bonus material is that website. I can't put it on Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, Books A Million, none of those pieces, Amazon, none of them can have it. It'll only be there. But I will also share as much of it as I can, just in case you can't get that, or if you bought it from Amazon. I will do my best that on that study you can follow along. But I want to invite you to just be on Facebook with us those 4 weeks if you want to follow along in the book and get it. But if you want to get it on Amazon, that's amazing. That helps us hit our lists. And I want to say thank you for that. If you want the bonus material, you can get the book for free. It does put you in the circle of friends, which if you don't want to be in that, after 30 days, it's not free. So if you don't want to be in that, opt out. But what was that website again? freethrivebook.com. And then if you get the bundle, you get that bonus material. In the study, I will do my best to provide you with that study material, because I'm not trying to get anything from you. I wrote this book. I knew I was going to write this book for a long time before I wrote any other books. The other books was working up to me being able to do this. This is soul care. This is me being stupid honest with you, so that you can get out of pain faster and into the promise of God faster. Because my whole point, why did I start with that? Can you briefly explain what your circle of friends is? I will in just a minute. How do we find